We're going to call the meeting to order. Good evening. This is a conference meeting of the City Council of the City of Orange Township held in council chambers. This is a conference meeting of the City Council of the City of Orange Township held in council chambers, City Hall, 29 North Day Street, Orange, New Jersey, on Wednesday, August 7th, 2019, at 7:01 p.m. Roll call. Councilman Coley is absent. Councilman Jackson?
Here.
Councilman Johnson Jr. is absent. Councilwoman Summers Johnson is absent.
I'm here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you.
I was like, I'm here.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson is here. Councilwoman Williams?
Present.
Councilwoman Wooten?
Here.
Council President Easton?
Here.
Also present, Joyce L. Lanier, the City Clerk. Chris M. Hartwick, the Business Administrator. Gracia R. Montillis, the City Attorney. Adrian Mapp, absent. Marty
He's
Mays.
here.
Oh, is he? Oh, I gotta stop
We're
this.
all sneaking in.
Marty Mays, Planning and Public Works Director. Todd Warren, Police Director. Marlon G. Towns, Legislative Research Officer. And Lisette Sanchez, Record Support Technician. Please stand for a moment of silence.
Council President,
Yes, Councilwoman Williams.
in light of everything that's going on in the country, could we dedicate this moment of silence to El Paso, Chicago, Ohio?
Amen.
Please be apprised, anyone wishing to discuss agenda or general items shall sign one book. Each person signing the book will be allowed to speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. The requirements of NJSA 10:4-9 et seq, the Sunshine Law, has been met. A notice of this meeting was published in the Star Ledger on July 5th, 2019, and the record transcript on July 11th, 2019, posted on the bulletin board in City Hall and filed in the office of the City Clerk.
Ms. Lanier,
Yes.
before you get into that, I just want to make a few housekeeping announcements. Number one, thank you all for coming out tonight in the storm. Hopefully it will clear up very soon, but it's been very bad out there. The thunder and lightning has been really scary. But thank you all for coming out to this meeting. Also, I just want to say we have a very aggressive agenda tonight, so we will be moving forward and trying to get as much of the business completed so we're not here to the wee hours of the morning. One of the things I want to say, we do have a officer on duty, and there will be no yelling out today night, no talking. If you decide you want to yell out something and you're not being recognized, then the officer will step to you and ask you not to do that. The second time you do that, he's going to ask you to step out of the council chambers. We are going to learn to respect each other, and we're going to conduct this meeting in a professional manner. The other thing I wanted to apologize for real quickly is that we canceled the July 22nd meeting due to one of our police officers being hit on a motorcycle. And thanks be to God, he's still alive, and he's progressing in a very good manner. And I think our director will go through that a little bit more later, but he has been moved to Kessler. So you might want to send cards just to wish him well, to let him know that we're all praying for him, and we praying for a speedy recovery. And then the reason that it was decided that the meeting would be canceled was because we didn't know at that point whether he was going to live or die. So we all went to the hospital to pray. So hopefully the residents and the to that, because he is a member of our community, and we want to make sure we support our officers, our firemen, and everyone who is in the line, emergency responders, and pray for them each day. So thank you for your patience and understanding. We looked at the agenda, and there was nothing that urgent that it could not wait till tonight. So that's why we chose to cancel that meeting. So thank you for your patience and understanding. One of the other things I would say, the law department has asked that due to the aggressive agenda we have tonight, that we move their presentation to the first meeting in September. So we will do that, and we have one presentation as a matters for discussion tonight.
For the record, Councilman Coley arrived at 7:07 PM. Matters for discussion. The Citizen Budget Advisory Committee report.
Council President, do you want me to announce what's
Oh, I'm
off?
sorry. All right. Before we get started, Madam Clerk,
Just so that we don't waste a lot of time, the following items will be removed or withdrawn by the administration. Ordinance 26, 2019 will be withdrawn. Ordinance 182, 2019 will be withdrawn.
Is that an ordinance or a resolution?
Resolution. For 182 is a resolution.
I'm sorry, resolution. And resolution 265 will be withdrawn.
265?
Yes. Resolution 266, 2019 will be withdrawn. Resolution 268, 2019 will be withdrawn. We don't need the tax anticipation notes because money's come in. Resolution 272 will be withdrawn and replaced with a walk-on later on. And
I'm sorry, Council President, just for clarity, is it going to be the same number or a different number?
it's a different number
It's a
based on what
different
I'm
number.
looking at.
Okay.
okay.
And Resolution 286 will be withdrawn, and there's an amended resolution. So it won't be withdrawn, but there's an amended resolution.
So same number?
Right,
Okay.
and it's the same number. That's all I have.
And, I'm sorry,
Mr.
18
Administrator, sorry, would you just go through them one more time?
Sure.
To make sure that everybody gets.
I'll do them in reverse this time.
Okay.
286 is going to be amended. You have an amended resolution on the table, and I'll explain that when we get to it. 272 is being withdrawn, and it'll be replaced. You have a walk-on number 292 on your agenda, on your table. 268 will be withdrawn. We don't need the TANs. 266 will be withdrawn. 265 will be withdrawn. And 182 will be withdrawn, and ordinance 26, 2019 will be withdrawn.
Does everybody have them? You good?
Yes.
We good?
Yes.
Okay. Madam Clerk?
CBAC.
That's not withdrawn. Yeah.
Good evening, Madam Clerk, members of the council, Madam President, and members of the public. My name is Nicole Wigfall. I am representative and spokesperson for the Citizens Budget Advisory Committee, CBAC. We just want to make a small note that the presentation that we are presenting tonight was handed in to the council July 1st, so that obviously it could be taken into consideration with the budget that was going to be presented for the upcoming year. Considering time and information, I'm going to keep this brief. I asked Ms. Hall, one of my committee members, to just assist me, go through the slides very quickly. I'm not going to go through each individual slide, only because there is a lot of comments that we made, and I know that each member of council has already received or should receive a copy that we provided to the clerk's office this morning. So I would just respectfully request that each of you take a time, if not tonight, to go over a lot of the recommendations that we did make. So I'm just going to give a summary as to what our committee collectively decided to make aware of our recommendations, okay? Okay. Go to the next slide. So first and foremost, as a committee, we do want to thank the council for our opportunity to serve and to be appointed to this committee, and we appreciate the opportunity to help give transparency to this process. Okay. We want to thank each and every council person who appointed each and every one of us to this committee, and we like the opportunity to serve. We appreciate that. A lot of the recommendations that were made from some of our committee members were very general across the board. We first and foremost, as a committee, would really like to impress upon the council and the members that appoint us that we be given a much quicker time to be appointed so that we can take this process just as seriously as you do and hope that our recommendations be taken in as seriously. And that being said, we like for the process to be started as early as September so that our people can be appointed, we can get an opportunity to get policies, responsibilities in writing of what is expected of us and what parameters we can operate within before the budget process is actually started. We feel, with all due respect, that our participation in this was a little rushed. And we, like you, would like the equal opportunity to be able to go over the budget in its entirety, line by line, so that we can bring forth any questions. Not that you're not aware or you don't think of the same questions, but we feel it's also always good to have a different perspective. So we're respectfully asking that. We'd also like, in that same vein, to be given an orientation prior to the process being started. We don't need to obviously see the budget. We don't need to be aware of what's being proposed for next year. But especially if we have new members or if we have veteran members who are returning to the committee, we'd like that opportunity to be able to be oriented and made aware and enlightened as to this entire process. We did feel that we had to kind of do a trial by fire with a lot of members that came on newly this year and weren't familiar with the process. So, our time, obviously, is just as important as any of the member of the councils, the public, and we'd like that to be taken into consideration. A lot of recommendations across the board were for perhaps the departments to present their budget suggestions and/or requests in a very cohesive, what's the word I'm looking for? In the same format. The presentations that were given were appreciated. Some of the information received was definitely taken into consideration with what they were asking for as their budget for next year. But as you'll probably see with what was presented, we had a lot of questions that probably weren't addressed in the presentations that were given. We are also asking, in consideration, the fact that the BA and the finance director have a great stake and heavily involved in this process, respectfully, with his time and his schedule, that we perhaps have regular meetings with him, obviously, again, based on his schedule, to perhaps go over, as the process moved forward, to see what progress has been made. Have our recommendations and suggestions been taken into consideration? Have they been implemented? And we do feel that you know, we also want to give him that compliment that during this process, and those of us who were on the committee prior really appreciated the time that he would take, Mr. Hartwood took, in, you know, being patient and explaining a lot of things that we weren't already aware of or understood. You can keep going, Ann, please, and thank you. As you'll see from the report that we submitted, in addition to a lot of very general recommendations we made that were across the board, we did make specific recommendations to departments like Community Affairs, the library, obviously, which, if you recall from our presentation last year, was a big sticking point with a lot of members on our committee. The fire department, we mentioned a lot of things about shared services. I know I'm probably sounding like I'm jumping around, but I really wanted to be brief and I wanted to summarize a lot of what we suggested. Keep going, please. One of our members took the time. He was very concerned about a lot of things that he noted in the fire department. But one of the things I want to highlight that's towards the end of our presentation was he did a comparison between Orange and New Bern, North Carolina. It's towards the end. I thought it was very important to highlight a lot of what he said because the towns are very similar in size, demographics, even though they're a different tax base. And I only want to highlight this out of all of the many things that we did raise in our presentation, that you please, if possible, give this particular attention because we thought it was important to ask these questions. Why is it that we're so similar, but Orange operates a little differently than New Bern? Even though they're completely different municipalities, there are a lot of similarities between the two towns. So basically, again, in brief, and I know I went very quickly, but I'm trying to keep our time in consideration. You can definitely read again a lot of what we put in more detail, but we really appreciated this chance to serve. We want to continue. We feel that it's necessary for this committee to have consistency in order to have better effectiveness as far as this committee is concerned. We'd like to keep the same members that were appointed last year and appointed this year to continue to serve so that, you know, we kind of cut down on a lot of communication problems and a lot of efficacy and effectiveness. We really want to reinforce that we enjoy working here, but, you know, if we're always constantly introducing new people into the mix, that takes away a little bit of the time of the work that needs to be done. So we really wanted to impress upon that we hope that the process, at least as far as our committee is concerned, is taken a little earlier, a little more concisely, a little more organized, and a little more operational so that we can jump right to work just as the council did. And I thank you for your time. We as a committee, on behalf of the members, thank you for the opportunity to serve. And if you have any questions with what we said, obviously feel free to any member of us and we can clarify. But I'm pretty certain a lot of what we said was straightforward. Okay. I thank you for your time, council members.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Thank you for your service.
Yes, appreciate the hard work.
Yep.
And she did it in less than 10 minutes. Do we want to remove the,
Screen?
yes. Where was,
You want to close the screen down? Marty, can you close the screen down? Close the screen.
Okay, we're gonna move on.
Council members, are there any resolutions or ordinances that you wish to discuss that's on tonight's agenda?
Mine was pulled.
Okay.
Thank God.
Council President,
Yes,
Are we still-
Councilwoman Williams.
are we still doing executive session tonight?
Yes, we will be doing an executive session at the end of the meeting,
Okay.
after we've taken care of all of the business. And for those of the council, I'm giving you the opportunity, if you don't feel you need to stay, you may leave at the end, but we still have to have 4 people to have a quorum.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Any ordinances or resolutions that you'd like to discuss at this time? All right, could I have a motion to close?
Move.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Williams, second by Councilwoman Wooten.
All in
Thank you.
favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned at 7:23.
We're gonna go right into our regular meeting.
This is a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Orange Township held in Council Chambers, City Hall, 29 North Day Street, Orange, New Jersey, on Wednesday, August 7, 2019, following the conference meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Roll call, Councilman Coley,
Present.
Councilman Jackson,
Here.
Councilman Johnson Jr. is absent, Councilwoman Summers Johnson,
Here.
Councilwoman Williams,
Present.
Councilwoman Wooten,
Here.
Council President Eason.
Here.
Also present Joyce Lanier, the City Clerk, Chris M. Hartwick, the Business Administrator, Gracia R. Montillis, the City Attorney, Adrian Mapp, the Finance Director, Marty Mays, Planning and Public Works Director, Todd Warren, Police Director, Marlon G. Towns, Legislative Research Officer, Lisette Sanchez, Record Support Technician. The requirements of NJSA 10:4-9 EdSec, the Sunshine Law, has been met. A notice of this meeting was published in the Star Ledger on July 5th, 2019, and the record transcript on July 11th, 2019, posted on the bulletin boards in City Hall and filed in the office of the City Clerk. Approval of the meeting minutes. May 21st, 2019, conference and regular meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman,
Coley. The second by,
Second by myself. Motion by Councilman Coley and second by me.
and second by Councilwoman Williams.
thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? June 5th, conference and regular meeting minutes. Councilwoman Wooten was absent and cannot vote. Is there a motion?
Move.
Second.
Councilwoman Williams and Councilman Coley.
Roll call, Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilman Jackson,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr. is absent. Councilwoman Summers Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten, you may abstain.
Abstain.
Councilwoman Eason.
Yes.
Minutes passed. July 11th, 2019, budget hearing meeting minutes. Councilmember Summers Johnson was absent and cannot vote but can abstain. Motion to adopt.
Move. Motion by Councilwoman Williams, second by Councilman Jackson.
Roll call, Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilman Jackson.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr. is absent. Councilwoman Summers Johnson, abstain.
Abstain.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten.
Yes.
Council President Eason. Council President Eason.
Yes.
June 13th, 2019, budget hearing meeting minutes. Councilman Johnson Jr. was absent and cannot vote. Their motion?
Move.
Second.
Councilwoman Williams and Councilman Coley.
Roll call, Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilman Jackson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten,
Yes.
Council President Eason.
Yes.
June 18th, 2019 conference and regular meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
Move.
Second.
Councilwoman Williams and Councilman Coley.
Roll call. Councilman Coley?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Johnson Jr. is absent. Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten?
Yes.
Council President Eason?
Yes.
July 1st, 2019 reorganization meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
Move.
Second.
Councilwoman Williams, Councilman Coley.
Roll call. Councilman Coley?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Johnson Jr. is absent. Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten?
Yes.
Council President Eason?
Yes.
Reports. Department Monthly Revenue Collection for 2019. Department of Planning and Economic Development for the month of March collected $82,879. For the month of April, $65,304. For the month of May, $46,674. For the month of June, $55,643. The Department of Community Service for the month of June collected $12,327. City Clerk's Office for June collected $5. The Historic Preservation Commission for June collected $280, and for July, they collected $70. Council reports. Constable reports. Darnell Brody did not have any reports or activities in May, June, and July. Mohammed Tori did not have no activity in June nor July. Richard Noisy for the month of June on 6/01 did the monthly meeting 6/9 and 6/23 church security. For the month of July, he did the monthly meeting on 6/7/06 and on 7/07 and 7/21 church security. Oprah reports. For the month of June, there was 97 requests received, 81 were completed, and 16 are pending. For the month of July, there are 92 requests received, 62 completed, and 30 pending. Council President, council reports.
Right. Does any council members have any reports that they would like to make? If so, please speak now. Does the Public Works Committee have a report? No? So then no-
Communication and petitions, none. Oh, sorry. Letter from the State of New Jersey Department of Transportation dated June 18, 2019, addressed to the mayor regarding the executed agreement for projects, various streets in Orange. Letter received from the State of New Jersey Department of Transportation dated July 15, addressed to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, Historic Preservation Office regarding Highland Avenue Station rehabilitation. All the letters are in the clerk's office for review if anyone wishes to see them. Citizen comments. Pursuant to Section 4-10 of the Code of the City of Orange Township, each person addressing the council shall step up to the microphone, shall give his or her name and address in an audible tone for the record, and unless further time is granted by the presiding officer, shall limit his or her address to 5 minutes. The public is expected to conduct themselves in a proper manner. Any derogatory, abusive, or threatening statements will not be permitted. The chair will immediately rule such conduct out of order and terminate any further comments.
Mr. Jeffrey Fell.
Good evening. My name is Jeffrey Feld, a local businessman, an attorney, and a mortgagee whose local business address is 268 Main Street, Orange, New Jersey. As my custom, I've delivered various heads-up memos, comments, and exhibits to the council. And one of the things I discussed in my letter is what strange things happened in August. And today is a very strange day, and I'm not talking about the weather. I was surprised how many people were not aware of what the article appeared in today's Star Ledger by Karen Yee entitled "City Asked to Pay for Mayoral Aides Legal Bills." The article speaks for itself, and I tell the public to read it. We just heard a few minutes ago about how many open Oprah requests there are. That's just for those 2 months. There's still a lot of open requests from the beginning of this year and from last year. The reason I mention that was yesterday I received the monthly report for July. It was dated July 5th. I received it August 6th. I don't know if every council member got a copy of those reports, but it's ridiculous when you look at the revenue reports for the water utilities, how lack of revenues are appear in there, and also on the pilots. I always ask about the line items, why certain pilots aren't there such as Walter G. Phase 3, what happened to the Washington Dodd project, why it's no longer listed. These are questions that need to be answered. In my letters, I don't really need to hash on it, but we need to start focusing on the work product of our in-house and outside counsel. I've never been in a situation where I file petitions for certification with the state Supreme Court, and my adversary does not follow the briefs nor follow any pleadings with the state. And that's the court rules. It's one thing to play with me, but to play with the state Supreme Court, I don't know if that's something that I would be doing in light of the article that appeared today. There has been various hearings. I pointed out that there was a hearing where the city attorney was supposed to be there, was noticed, did not attend. I'm glad that you removed a lot of the items, because I sent you a memo, but the key on certain things, like tonight, we're going to adopt the 5th emergency temporary appropriation resolution. But there's no way really to trace how much we appropriate per each line item. And I think that would help us and the CBAC to understand as the year progressed as to certain departments, how much money has been allocated. Because we're in July, I think this is going to take us, I don't know when, probably to the end of August. As to the water, sewer, utility related, as I mentioned before on the monthly operating report, the amount of revenues, it doesn't make sense for the amount of revenues that we're bringing in into the expenses. There's a $600,000 retention resolution today, and I think the public is entitled to understand what services the water utility is going to be used to improve, because this ties into, we had a special meeting in early January 2018 where we remodified the contracts, I guess, with Suez. But if you could look on the website, those minutes in that meeting, it doesn't even appear. And it's a question of transparency, accountability, and adherence to the rule of law. I just replaced, because before the last meeting, I asked that certain changes we made, because there would be various retention resolutions, that you would put these docket numbers as to various of the cases. That was not done. Why? I mean, this is something that was simple. You had 2 weeks, it could have been done. And we had to start correcting this. I know for many of you, I am the enemy, but others, I am a patriot. The world has changed dramatically. Do not discount what happened last Friday with the state Supreme Court. About a year ago, I filed a citizen's complaint, municipal complaint. That complaint was not forwarded by the city to the prosecutor's office. One of the reforms that was done by our state Supreme Court that was announced on Friday, that any time a citizen's complaint is filed against elected officials or municipal officials for abuse of power, that complaint will be sent to a career professional prosecutor to review. In addition, on Monday, a 40-page opinion came out regarding a dispute between various municipalities of Bergen County and a water utility. I urge you to read the opinion because it talks about what happens when there's challenges of ordinances and that you have a trial. There are 14 days trials. Remember, no judge has ever given me a trial in any of my cases.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Ms. Donna Lordy? Excuse me if I mispronounce your name.
Hi, thank you for letting me come here and talk to you. I'm
Say your name again for the
pleading
record.
to you. My name's Donna Lordy. I live at 445 Central Avenue, and I'm coming here pleading to you because I've called several times to the police, to code enforcement, to the property management of my building and the lot next door. There's an ongoing issue. It's been going on for about a year now. People are dumping trash in an empty vacant lot next door to my building. It got to the point where it was so bad that it started smelling. I live on the 4th floor, and there were all kinds of chemicals that they had dumped also, including like turpentine. You know, there was just buckets. I have pictures if anybody cares to see, but it's been an ongoing issue. I consulted with the management next door. They have a phone, their phone number there. So I called several times with nobody getting back to me. Finally, somebody got back to me just a couple months ago. Maurice is his name. Apparently, he's the manager of the property. So he had sent a crew at one point, maybe about 7 months ago, that cleaned it all up. But the people just dump again and again. It's like a bullying kind of thing in my building. There's a particular guy, and I'm not afraid to say his name. Everybody else is afraid to confront him. But his name's Junior. He's been throwing actual trash, like, trash, like bags of refuse, Q-tips, corn, canned goods, all kinds of disgusting things were mixed into this pile right outside my window. So it got to the point where, no one's doing anything, no one's listening to me. I'm getting emotional about it because, you work hard all day, you come home, and you gotta look at trash and smell it now. It's 90 degrees with water there, because it's like a ditch, and it's evaporating, it's all coming up, I'm smelling it. So apparently, I'm the only one that seems to be complaining. The police came out, they told me to call when they're actively throwing. The police have been wonderful. I mean, I can't say enough about Orange Police. I love them. They've come out, they told me, because I was told, well, you have to call when they're actively throwing the trash. Okay, well, by the time someone gets there, they're not throwing it anymore. It's thrown. It's there. So it's been going on a year, and not one single person's been fined over this. So I personally couldn't take it anymore. And I went out there, and I cleaned up, I bagged up, personally lifted and bagged up about 20 bags of trash. And my property manager was nice enough to let me dump it all in our dumpster. I picked up the turpentine buckets, all that stuff. I have pictures of all this. It was disgusting. And a mattress, too. I mean, let's just not forget the mattress. I mean, there was everything you can imagine. Even a kitchen sink is actually thrown in this lot. So it's really disgusting. And now, that was about 3 weeks ago that I had cleaned it all up myself, personally, only me, myself. Okay, since then, it's gotten a lot better. I had words with the guy that I told you, because he was laughing at me when I was picking up the trash. He sat there and laughed at me. And, I just couldn't help myself. I started screaming at him, And anyway, so this has been going on a while. I don't know what else to do. The police officers, the most recent time I called, told me, they're getting tired of hearing me call. So they told me to come here and plead to you guys, see if there's something that can be done. There was a very nice officer, Cherry, I spoke with.
Yes.
And he had made a report to code enforcement. So that's all I know as far as what happened behind the scenes. If anybody cares to see my pictures, I have them.
And what
It's
is-
just that I'm here because I don't want it to happen again. I don't want it to get to that point again where it's a landfill, basically.
Ma'am, what is your address again?
I live at 445 Central Avenue.
Okay.
So the vacant lot is next door. I have the phone number I have a screenshot of the sign they have up. It's called
Council President?
Proud Communities or something, or
looks like
Proud
our
Living.
Police director's ready to take her to, he's ready.
Yeah, okay. But Director, we also need a code enforcement representative to work with you on that. All right, so
Did-
he's
did
gonna
anyone
take your
else-
information.
Give it to, police director.
Mr. Hartwick is going to take your information. And Director, I apologize, but did you want to make some comments?
But let him come back.
Yeah, sure. I'm sorry. I need to digress
Todd
for a
Warren.
minute, Council.
Todd Warren, Director of Police. I want you to understand that we're not tired of hearing your calls. We're here to serve you. Whatever you need from us, we're here to serve. We are professionals, and we're committed to addressing your issues. Council President, I am going to take the lead on this. I will reach out to code enforcement, and we will stay on top of this. I will go by the building at 445 and give out some of our anonymous tip cards, because what happens is that line is monitored 24 hours a day, and if there is active dumping going on, they call the anonymous tip line, there are detectives that will respond. And we'll also set up an operation where we can we know how to deal with it. So I'm going to take personal responsibility on this. I will get her information, and as the meetings progress, time progresses, I will give you guys an update. And once we apprehend this person, I will give you an update on that as well.
Could I ask you, when your officers see trucks or pickup trucks loaded with debris late at night going through the town, do we ever stop them and ask them where they're headed?
I've gotten notice that they follow the trucks, not necessarily stop them, because if I stop you, then you may not go and dump. So they actually
Well, that's a
follow
good thing.
trucks. Yeah, but sometimes they follow the trucks, and the trucks will be going through town, just to see what the person who's driving the truck is going to be, what they're gonna do, I mean. So they do follow and do surveillance and things of that nature, but we will take a more active role in this, and I will collaborate with code enforcement on it as well, and keep you updated.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. That's it.
Is there a motion to close citizen comments?
Move.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Williams, second by Councilwoman Summers Johnson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Council comments.
Council President,
Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
last week I attended Captain Brogier's memorial, which started off very funeral-like, very scary, and quickly turned into a celebration, and I will continue to keep his family in my prayers. Yesterday, I attended the National Night Out, and I did something different. I'm normally in the Caravan, but this year I was on Beach Street in the Valley with District Leader Stacy Martin, and I'd like to thank her for coordinating it. My kids were there; they got nice and dirty, running around, but it was a refreshing sight. Someone even went and got an extension cord. I shouldn't say we. They were jumping double dutch. Let me not tell a lie. They were jumping double dutch, but it's just the sweet sound of kids playing. I did some arts and crafts. But there was only one complaint towards the end. One of the residents actually collapsed right in front of me and was pulling at her heart. And when we were getting ready to call 911, I'm screaming, call from a landline, but most people don't have a landline because I know that it increases the time that the ambulance will get there. And as they were calling 911 from the cell phone, I called Orange Police. I called actually Captain Dunn. Captain Dunn immediately sent police over, but it actually took the ambulance, I timed it, 20 minutes. So 20 minutes of her daughter screaming and crying, residents, kids, it was very, we've all been through it as council people personally, and we've seen it, with our eyes. And it's just, it's a continuing thing that our ambulance service, it always comes up. But kudos to Orange Fire Department. They came out to help. Like I said, Orange Police was on the spot, and the daughter wanted to take the mom in the car. And I was just, we just told her, please wait for the ambulance because we didn't want anything to happen on the way. So we'll keep that family in our prayers also. And just a note, if you're on social media, you need to join the Orange Public Schools site because there's been so many exciting things going on over the summer. Their STEM program and things like that. But at the Newark Public Library next Wednesday, August 14th at 5 p.m., they're going to be doing a class on financial aid. And now that I'm in this college world, there's so much information, and many people lose out on funding due to lack of knowing and due dates and things like that. So Orange Public Schools put out that they're inviting parents to go to Newark Public Library next Wednesday, August 14th at 5 p.m. just to get a lot of information so we don't miss out on money. So thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Councilwoman Williams?
Thank you, Council President. National Night Out was a good night last night. It was a long night, but it was a great night. The weather held back. Going through the neighborhoods, want to thank all the residents who welcomed the Caravan in. And we just had a great time, and it's just a good night. I wish we could kind of do it a little bit more and find ways, because just to see the young people out enjoying the block being closed, running up and down the street. It was a nice muggy night, so everybody was sweating, and it was just a really great, too much food. But I appreciate all the participants. Thank you from all of the employees who stayed and participated as well. It was just another good National Night Out. This is a long-standing program, and I look forward to us continuing to do it, and I don't know how we can expand it, because we will still be out there, right? So we'll figure that out. And also, this weekend, 2 great events are going on. Our Caribbean Festival, which is in Orange Park from 12 noon to 8 p.m., which is probably our largest, one of our largest, if not the largest festival that we have out in Monte Irvin, Orange Park. And it starts at 12 noon, 8 p.m. Please come out, bring your chair, enjoy the music and festivities. And at the same time, St. Matthew will be holding the movie When They See Us. And if you have not had the opportunity to see this movie, it's so relevant. It's about the Central Park Exonerated 5. And it's just a great movie to see, and just in light of everything that's going on, it kind of refresh our memories that we've been through some things and we're still going through them.
Just
And
tell them the time is 10
10 a.m. to 5 p.m. There are 4
episodes.
4 different, it's in 4 segments, but they have you at the beginning. It's a very, very, very good docudrama, I guess you would say. But please come, if you have a chance and you haven't seen it, a good opportunity to see it.
Excuse me, Councilwoman, we will also bring you on it so we don't have to repeat it. Just let them know the cost is $5.
Okay.
And you get snacks, lunch, and drinks. But it's from 10 to 5, open to anyone in the city of Orange that wants to come. You don't have to stay all day. You can come watch a couple of segments and leave. But he's also asking for the fellowship, the community involvement, and just getting to know you. So he's opening up the church on Saturday. The movie is not appropriate for young children, so there will be activities for the children if you need to bring them and need someone to babysit them.
Council President, only snacks y'all giving out?
Only snacks, unless you're gonna
There'd be a lot of food
donate
trucks right across the street,
food.
so.
Are you donating food?
I'll think about it. I need more than snacks.
Just like the movies, you eat popcorn, right?
No, I lay out, Council President.
And last but not least, I want to continue to keep Captain Bogier in prayer. And, through tragedy, a lot of triumph came out. We got to know his family. I think Adrian and I got a new veterinarian. And so we got to pick Mrs. Bogier's brain about our pets and everything. So it's funny how things work out, and just thankful that he's progressing, and keep us informed, Director, on his progress. Also, if you know the Brennan family from William Street in Orange, their cousin, who is from Orange, was a West Orange firefighter. I think last week, there was a horrible accident on 280, and an accident resulted in another accident, and he was one of the firemen that were hit while he was helping the first accident, and his name is Will Holder, and he's still in ICU. This family is, our family and young man, and ask that you continue to keep him in your thoughts and prayers, and if you know the Brennan, shoot them, a message to let them know that you're thinking about them. And I know that the family has been doing a great job of keeping us up on the progress. But please, Will Holder is his name. Keep him in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you.
Councilwoman Wooten?
Council President. So I want to reiterate about National Night Out last night. It was phenomenal, and I want to thank the particular blocks that we visited. We went to William Street, Hawthorne Street, St. Matthew AME Church, Cross and Crown Christian Church. We did the Washington Dodd development. We also did Wilson Place, Central Playground we did not get to, but we did Fuller Terrace, Parkview Terrace, Beach Street, and also Hampton Terrace. So I want to thank.
Church either. Redeemed. We didn't get to the Redeemed Church.
We didn't. So I want to thank all of those people for all of your hospitality, coming out, getting to meet you, getting the fellowship with you, getting to eat the various foods from the various countries. learn some new dances from the young folk. It's just like really a really, really nice night of bringing the community, public service officers, elected officials, city employees, just bring the community together as a whole. In addition to that, it seems like a constant theme or theme at the meeting or theme that other council people are talking about. We're all talking about prayer. So in a time when our country is being led by someone who spews hate and he spews hatred towards everyone, we just have to continue to pray and pray for him, pray for our country, and pray for our elected officials, and pray for our community. And during that prayer vigil on last Thursday, this was reiterated over and over and over again. But what was fascinating to me, we brought in all faiths that we could bring in. We had the rabbi there. We had the imam there. We had the Baptist preachers there. We had the Methodist people there. So we brought everybody together to pray for Captain Bogier. And in essence, we also prayed for our community and prayed for our city. I went to St. Matthew and listened to a sermon, and I know y'all are like, please. But the pastor preached about different types of trauma, and he gave us the different types, and he gave us 8 different types. But he said something to me that was most poignant to me, and it stuck out in my mind. He said, when you see someone and they're not acting in a particular way, instead of saying what's wrong with them, you need to say what happened to them. And that's what I want to say to a lot of the people that I come in contact with and people in my life. Like, I won't ever say that again, what's wrong with them. I'll always say what happened to them, because we deal with tragedies in different ways. And that's all I have, Council President. And thank y'all.
Thank you. Councilman Coley?
Yes. Thank you, Council President. I just want to thank the BA for pulling those items off the agenda. And we had one item that he pulled, and had been pulled since June. Either we're gonna pull the trigger on this thing or we're not. And Council President, I'm gonna ask that whatever needs to be done, if it's on the agenda again, we vote it up or down, so this thing just stop appearing and then disappearing off the agenda. Either we're gonna pull the trigger or we're not.
Are we talking about the housing ordinance and resolution?
Yes.
I'm withdrawing them, not holding them, I'm withdrawing
Okay.
them.
We
They won't
withdrew
appear
them.
again unless there's,
Okay,
based upon the discussions I'm having with the housing authority.
okay.
Council
So
President?
I don't think they will be back.
I'm not,
I don't think, Councilman Coley, they will be back.
Say again?
I think when he withdrew them, that was pulling the trigger,
Okay.
all right? Just so
All right.
you know.
And Councilman Cole, can I just ask a question about that?
Go ahead.
Okay,
Whether,
thank you.
are you finished, Councilman
No,
Cole?
No.
no, I'm not finished.
All right.
I'm asking, can I ask a question about that, what he just talked about?
Can we wait till he finishes and then
Okay,
we'll go
that's
back
fine.
to it? Yes, Councilman Coley.
Yeah, and I want to thank the New Jersey Department of Transportation for, after 2.5, 3 years, answering my calls, my emails for the repaving of Freeway Drive. They came through for us. I can't tell you, folks who travel Freeway Drive on a regular basis like I do, over the last year or so, we've seen how horrible that road has become. And the state, they came out and they finally did some patchwork, and it's 100% better than what it is. I just want to thank them again for coming out, doing the paving, and doing the striping of those critical areas of Freeway Drive that I travel every single day. That's what I have, Council President.
Yes, Councilman Williams, you want to answer your question?
Just to the BA, regarding, I know we had talked about beginning to start the process that when these projects don't move forward, that we will pull them so that they can have to come back before this council. So you're saying not pulling that, so what is going to be the process that brings this entity back in front of the council?
So, in this particular case, as opposed to Lincoln Court, which I'll talk about when we get to that part of the agenda. Going forward, we will put into the agreements and the resolutions that approve those agreements specific language, which basically says that if the project is changed in any way, in this particular case, if it relied upon long-term tax credits and they didn't get them, then they would have to come back to reauthorize.
Okay, so, but that's not in this agreement, so.
No.
Nor did this entity fulfill its obligation regarding an opinion. So
Correct.
if we don't pull this, what do we do to make sure, and now there's more stipulation with the new one based on the walk-on, so how do we make sure that we're looking at current information?
So in this particular instance, the reason that I feel comfortable pulling it is because in consultation with the mayor a number of months ago, we never executed the redevelopment agreement and we never executed the financial agreement because we never received the opinion. And that is still our position, that unless we receive the opinion, those documents will not be executed by the administration.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Jackson.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to reiterate the high praise for the National Night Out. I was on Fuller Terrace in front of Councilman Johnson's house and with his neighbors, and, you know, the caravan came through, and it was very nice to see all of us have like a block party, a regular block party, and get to know each other a little better. Having been there a few times, it's nice to see the same people coming out every year. They really like it. They really enjoy it, and I think they really appreciate the community throughout Orange that we presented to them the other night. I also like to reiterate thanks for pulling those particular ordinances and resolutions. I look forward to handling business regarding them again. We have some new assignments to committees, and I think we have a new chapter of work together as we all take our positions on these committees. Other than that, it seems that as the summer comes to an end, one thing about the things that are happening in the school, as mentioned by Councilwoman Jamie Summers Johnson, I'm hoping there's better coordination between the board and the administration so that those events that they're presenting are put on the website more efficiently, or at least because in talking to David McKnight, who is the director of the Board of Trustees of the library, he was just rolling off all these different events from the calendar that I didn't know, but he was saying how, you know, he had been talking to the superintendent about publicizing more, not only of the events, but the achievements. And those are the kind of things we need to raise to a higher level of appreciation as we were discussing public versus private school attendance with a person who was sending her children to private school. Orange schools have made great advancements, and they are providing through the STEM program opportunities for children to achieve at higher levels. And some of the stigma that might have been attached to Orange Public Schools is dissipating through the hard work of those professionals. So as we approach the school year, please have confidence that things are improving, and not only for them, but also for the administration and the council. Thank you, Council President.
Yeah, I only have a couple of comments. I want to make an announcement, so everybody put on their calendar, save the date, September 21st. Orange High will be celebrating the 150-year anniversary. They will have a parade starting at Orange High School, up Lincoln Avenue to the Elks Club, where they will do their performances and have some remarks. So they're looking for all of the alumni to come home. Come home for that celebration. It's a milestone for Orange High, and they need your participation. So right now, I'm just saying, save the date. Put it on your calendar so you don't book anything else in its place.
Council President? And
Yes.
also that Friday, there's going to be a mixer at the high school.
And on that Friday, there will be a mixer at the high school. They're going to decorate the high school gym and have you socialize. And so tell your friends, A lot of you graduated from Orange High, so you need to reach far and near to let them know they have time to book a plane ticket and get here for the 150th anniversary. On the Saturday itself, we're not sure, but we're going to probably have tailgating in the Bell Stadium, have some tents set up so people can also come out there and socialize and be right there to go when the game starts. So that is the new thing, and we're hoping for everybody to participate, and we will notify everyone. I talked to our legislature research officer, and this is for Mr. Mays, and I guess, I don't know who drafts the handicap resolutions, but going forward, there needs to be a section that says, if the person sells the house, moves, or dies, we can immediately remove the handicap sign. So I guess, and Mr. Towns is going to see if we can amend the resolution that's on the books or the ordinance on the books to make sure that's included, so that when something happens, we're not having a sign sitting there for a year and trying to get it removed. Did we get the one removed from Merrill Court? I thought that was supposed to happen this week. So how soon can we get that removed? They only made a request 2 months ago. Tomorrow? And they said, what's that, pinky promise? Pinky promise? I also want to reiterate, National Night Out, I've been doing this for, 18 years? I don't know.
A
but
long time.
Long time. And I truly enjoyed it. I enjoyed the locations. I enjoyed going from place to place and seeing the people and socializing. But I just want to say, National Night Out is about stopping the violence, unity, and building your community. And that's what we need to continue to do as we go from location to location. But one of the downsides of it is I just want people to understand, as much as we did kudos and how much fun we have, that we're not just there to eat your food, we're there to socialize. But I want to thank the ones that shared their food with us, with our police, with our firemen, and let them enjoy themselves. Because keep in mind, sometimes our officers are doing double shifts, so that little hamburger or hot dog you give them helps them a lot to get through the night. But also, if you don't want to be on the route, then you need to let us know, because we don't want to infringe on anybody. And I think that happened last night. One thing I saw at one location, I was almost in tears, but I would get to that later on because I plan to address that in another media. But everybody should be on the same accord. As I close, and this is just so that people will understand, I know it's going to confuse. I'm going to read, I love Langston Hughes. He makes some beautiful poetry. And I just want to read one of his poems as it relates to last night and one of the incidents I witnessed. I too sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen. When company comes, I laugh, and I eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow, I will be at the table. When company comes, nobody would dare say to me, eat in the kitchen. Then, besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I too am an American. And as we put these events together, there should be no haves and have-nots and different food for different people. We all got to share. And if you feel you can't do that, then don't put yourself on the parade, on the caravan route, because that puts a damper and a negative connotation on what we're trying to do for this city. So I just say next year, I hope it will be much better. I hope we all will come out and share and enjoy and recognize that it's unity and community and us living together as one, no matter what race, what color, whatever. We're all one in the city of Orange. Thank you. Please move the agenda.
Ordinance, second reading, public hearing. 24-2019, a refunding bond ordinance authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $1,565,000 aggregate principal amount of refunding bonds and/or refunding notes by the City of Orange Township and the County of Essex, State of New Jersey, for the purpose of funding an emergency temporary appropriation for legal judgment.
This
Public-
ordinance actually needs to be held pending the local finance board hearing on August 14th. So we should keep the public hearing open and carry it to the next agenda.
Okay. Public hearing remains open.
Do we need a
Are there any citizens who want to speak on it? No? Okay. We need a motion to hold it open. No, we're just extending the public hearing. 25-2019, an ordinance rescinding ordinance number 36-2018 and terminating the financial agreement with Carthage N.J. Arlington LLC for payments in lieu of taxes pertaining to the property identified as Block 491, lots 18 and 19 on the official tax map of the city. Are there any citizens who wish to speak?
Mr. Fell?
My name is Jeffrey Feld. You have my address. I support rescission. The question, I have to give you history, there is litigation. This is Feld 18. I notified the city, I guess in November or December, that the state did not fund this transaction. I also notified the city that by looking at the New Jersey Housing Mortgage Finance minutes in their agenda of April, they approved the transfer of this property to a different owner. And the property, by Oprah, I got a response from the state, but not from the city, that the property is now taxable because there's been a transfer. I just want to say that there's letters, because I've asked for discovery in this case, and my position is, even though you adopt this resolution, this case will not become moot, because there's still issues as to whether the city has adopted ever a long-term tax exemption policy and procedure ordinance, question about land tax credits, whether the New Jersey Housing Mortgage Finance exemption, tax exemption, was superseded by the long-term tax exemption law, and also the question about viewpoint discrimination, that whether citizens, when they ask questions at a second reading public hearing, are entitled to real answers. But I ask you to rescind this, because it's moot now because the property's been sold, but to understand that the litigation still goes on until the court determines whether the matter is moot.
Thank you, Mr. Fell. Anyone else wishing to speak? Motion to close citizen comments?
Move.
Second.
Motion by Coley, second by Councilman Jackson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to adopt on final?
Move.
Second.
Councilwoman Williams and Councilman Coley. Y'all are a duet tonight. That's good.
On the motion?
Council President,
Yes.
I think that the record before you vote should reflect a couple things.
Beg your pardon?
I think the record before the council votes on this item should reflect a couple of things that I'd like to bring to your attention.
Okay.
The city was notified by letter from the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency that the loan commitment approval that was granted for the project had expired and that the project would not go forward. Therefore, they did not receive any of the actual funding that was the focus and discussion of at least 4 meetings on this project. Subsequent to that, within the last 30 days, we have received a letter from the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency's Division of Enforcement indicating that the project had been transferred or that the property had been transferred and that the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency mortgage, which was the basis for the pilot agreement, had been paid off. So now the issue is even clearer than it was when we first introduced this ordinance, that this should be terminated. The new owners will come in, I presume, as soon as they get my letter telling them that they no longer have a pilot agreement, and we'll address that on a going forward basis.
Thank you.
Roll call, Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilman Jackson,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr. is absent, Councilwoman Summers Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten,
Yes.
Council President Eason.
Yes.
27-2019, an ordinance to amend the code of the City of Orange Township, Chapter 200, entitled Vehicle and Traffic, Section 46, Schedule 15, Prohibit Turns at Intersections. Any citizens wish to speak?
Motion to close citizens' comments?
Second.
Councilwoman Williams and Councilwoman Jamison, Mrs. Johnson.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion to adopt on final?
Move.
Councilwoman Williams and Councilwoman Wooten.
On the motion?
Council, Madam Clerk, I have, this is for our director and, Mr. Butler. And I'm gonna suggest, Director, that when you get this agenda going forward, that you look on it and see what, you might wanna assign one of your police officers to do that, to see what applies to your police department, and have that person make sure they get the final version and circulate it and communicate it with the police so they will know what they're doing. I think there's been some breakdowns there, that we've passed things in the past and it never filtered down. So in the future, we're gonna need you to have someone go through the agenda, pull out everything that applies to the police, and make sure that it's communicated to your department. Because this doesn't take into effect until 20 days, right?
Correct, after publication.
20 days after publication.
So, this is one that you're gonna need, 27-2019.
Roll call, Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilman Jackson,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr. is absent, Councilwoman Summers Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten,
Yes.
Council President Eason.
Yes.
28-2019, an ordinance of the Municipal Council of the City of Orange Township adopting the Lincoln-Highland Avenue Redevelopment Rehabilitation Plan pursuant to NJSA 40A:12A-7E. Any citizens wish to speak?
Motion to close citizens' comments?
Motion by Councilwoman Williams.
Second.
Second by Councilman Coley.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to adopt on final?
Move.
Second.
Councilman Johnson and,
Councilman Jackson?
I'm saying Councilman Jackson and Councilwoman Williams.
On the motion? Seeing none, roll call. Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilman Jackson,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr. is absent, Councilwoman Summers Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten,
Yes.
Council President Eason.
Yes.
29-2019, a capital ordinance appropriating $85,000 from the Capital Improvement Fund to pay for energy-efficient improvements to various city facilities in and by the City of Orange Township in the County of Essex, State of New Jersey. Any citizens wish to speak?
Motion to close?
Councilwoman
Second.
Williams and Councilwoman Wooten.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to adopt on final?
Move.
Second.
Councilman Jackson and Councilwoman Williams.
On the motion? Seeing none, roll call. Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilman Jackson,
Yes.
Johnson Jr. is absent, Councilwoman Summers Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten,
Yes.
Councilwoman Easton.
Yes.
30-2019 WO, an ordinance of the City of Orange Township amending Chapter 4, Administration of Government, Section 4-17.2, Constables of the City of Orange Township Municipal Code. Any citizens wish to speak?
Motion to close citizens' comments?
Councilwoman Williams
Second.
and Councilwoman Wooten.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to adopt on final?
Move.
Second.
Councilwoman Williams and Councilman Coley.
On the motion?
Council President?
Yes, Councilwoman Williams.
So, just so I'm understanding, constable appointments come from council members. In this new process, is this still, the appointments come from council president? From council members?
That didn't change.
I actually don't know the answer to that and need to look at the ordinance.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm glad you said, Council President, because I received, like a resume and then like it was whatever, it was too big for me to even forward. So as soon as you find out what the process is, can you forward it to all the council? Because,
Yeah, I'll give you the answer in a minute.
okay.
Yeah, that's just because that shouldn't have changed.
It shouldn't, no,
I don't think
it doesn't change. The appointment is still through the council.
I don't think it
But
did.
is
I
it just resume and then they're,
didn't look at it, so I didn't want to say without looking at it.
Yeah.
All appointments are still made by the governing body.
okay.
I think it just increased the number that we could have, didn't it?
No, the numbers are still the same. It was always 50.
The scope of work is
It's just
increased.
the functions are being,
Yeah, that section of the ordinance has not changed.
Okay.
Okay, so the appointments are not changed, but because it's more, the work is, I guess, different or more, is there a screening process? So do we recommend, do they have to be screened and they come back to us? So if we just recommended John Doe, is John Doe, as long as the council votes him up, going to be okay? Or is there a screening process?
the way the ordinance is worded, Councilwoman, they have to pass a screening process through the Orange Police Department. And then once the application process and background check is done, and then they come back to the governing body with the approval of the police department for a vote.
Okay. And also, this has become a salary line item as well?
It will in future budgets, yeah.
So, starting with the 2020 budget?
Correct.
All right, and that salary, is that something we'll determine at the 2020?
We have an idea of what it is, but because many of the functions that we anticipate are revenue generating, there'll be substantial offsets to salary.
Okay. And, so it's a salary item in the police department or where?
Correct.
Okay. And also, is it benefits or is just no fringe benefits?
It depends on how many hours they work.
Okay. All right.
So they can work up to 31 hours without having to get health care benefits. If they work more than 31 hours in a 6-month look-back period, then they have to get health care benefits.
Okay, state, okay. Because we're not in the state health plan, why is that?
Based on
The pro-
the provisions of the Affordable Care Act that have still survived repeal.
Okay. Good. And how does this differ from special police?
Special police have statutory responsibilities. They're broken into 3 types, Special 1s, Special 2s, and Special 3s. They each have different responsibilities, and there are limitations on the term they can serve as well as the amount of money they can make, and the duties that they can perform.
Okay, so give me an example, so now
So
we pass
Class
this to
3. Class 3 is a new class.
the special 3 you talk about?
Correct.
Right, uh-huh.
It has to be a retired police officer, someone who has retired within the last 5 years, and they can only work in the schools. A
Okay.
Class 2, Special 2, has all of the responsibilities and authority and powers that a regular police officer has, but they can only work 26 hours a week.
No, I was saying, give me an idea what this constable would doing versus a special.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The constables, the way we've written the ordinance, can supplement things that we don't really use police officers for, like code enforcement, property maintenance, zoning violations, illegal dumping, as well as they can serve warrants.
Okay.
We have a big backlog on warrant service.
Okay.
And it's not just in Orange, it's throughout the state. They can address that. They can also do all the things that a police officer can do, but they can do it on a countywide basis.
Gotcha.
So we could use them for park security in the county parks,
Okay.
city parks. There's a lot of things that you can do. There's a lot of flexibility built into the constable statute.
Okay. Thank
It's
you.
not spelled out in K of the ordinance. C talks about the application process, it's all there. And K gives you all of the things that they can do, including carrying a gun, right?
That's right.
But to Councilwoman Jamie Summers' question, you must apply for an application from the clerk's office for that person that you have.
Okay,
And then they will come to the clerk's office and pick it up and start the process.
okay,
All
all
right?
right.
It's all outlined here, so we need to make sure we follow that.
Okay.
So even though you got the resume,
Yes.
you can't really do anything with it because he's still gotta go to the clerk's office.
Okay.
And probably attach his resume to the application,
All right,
all right?
thank you.
So, and then final, because this is a new budget item, this will not, even though, go into effect normally 20 days after, this is something we won't look to be starting until 2020 because of the
I think-
budget implication?
Yeah, there's budget implications, there's also training. So we will phase it in and plan for it over the last quarter of the year.
Okay. Thank you, Council President.
Okay.
Roll call. Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilman Jackson,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr. is absent, Councilwoman Summers Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten,
Yes.
Council President Eason.
Yes,
31-2019, an ordinance to amend the code of the City of Orange Township, Chapter 200, Vehicle and Parking, Article 2, entitled Parking to further regulate overnight parking of commercial vehicles, sponsored by Councilmember Carrie J. Coley. Any citizens wish to speak?
Motion to close citizens' comments?
Is there a second?
Councilwoman Williams, is there a second?
Second.
Councilwoman Jamie Summers Johnson.
That was Councilwoman Wooten.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to adopt on final?
Move.
Second.
Councilwoman Williams and Councilman Jackson.
On the motion?
Council President? Oh,
Okay, go ahead.
you go first.
Okay. Council President, through you to, Mr. Hartwick. Mr. Hartwick, I just want to make sure we continue our conversation, with the zoning officer, even if we have to come back and just amend that with the commercial vehicles. That's it.
Yes.
Okay, that's it. Thank you, Council President.
I was just saying Captain Dunn came back in. Captain Dunn, 31-2019 is one that your police department will need a copy of this ordinance to make sure it's circulated. The director has the information on making sure that these things get over, so you might want to get a copy when it's signed and finalized, and it goes to effect 20 days after it's published, so that your police officers are aware. Because the residents are saying, I know we pass a lot of legislation, but a lot of it is not being enforced because it has not been communicated to the police department. We need to make sure that happens going forward. Okay? All right.
Roll call. Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilman Jackson,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr. is absent, Councilwoman Summers Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten,
Yes.
Council President Eason.
Yes.
Ordinance on first reading. 26 has been withdrawn. 32-2019, an ordinance to amend the code of the City of Orange Township, Chapter 200, entitled Vehicles and Traffic, Section 200-10.2, Residential Parking, Hickory Street. A motion to adopt on first?
Move.
Councilman Williams,
Second.
Second.
Councilman Coley.
On the motion?
Council President?
Yes, Councilman Williams.
I just want to take this opportunity that we're getting ready to do another permit parking area. Enforcement has to be consistent. Getting a lot of calls over from both Central and Oakwood Place about, not here, and I've been talking to Vidiello about it, but just the residents noting that we've went through the process of doing permit parking, but the enforcement is not happening. So I just wanted to raise that concern right now.
Okay.
Anyone else on the motion? Roll call, Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilman Jackson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten,
Yes.
Council President Eason.
Yes.
33-2019, an ordinance amending section 84.1 of the City of Orange Township Administrative Code relating to Article 1, paraphernalia, sale, and display restricted, sponsored by Councilmember Adrian Wooten. Is there a motion to adopt on first?
Move.
Councilwoman Williams and Councilwoman Wooten.
On the motion?
Council President,
Yes, Councilwoman Wooten.
this ordinance is important. It came to me from some residents regarding, certain stores that had certain items being sold in stores. So it's important to the people that live in these neighborhoods for this, like, not to happen. They don't want, people to be able to go in and buy adulterated steel wool, for drug usage, and they say that it causes a lot of, traffic in and out of the stores, which is fine, but if they're buying something or the stores are selling something for drugs, they just don't want it at the end of their street or on their block. So that's the importance of this, ordinance.
Business Administrator Hartwick.
Yes.
I have the one question, I guess, and Captain Dunn is here. How will we control that?
The particular language in the ordinance? So, I think that that's a discussion that we have to have with the police department. It's an enforcement issue. I understand the importance and where it's coming from. And I'm sort of erring on the side of, let's move forward with this for the intent, based on the intent, which is really to help the community with some of these smaller stores that are doing things that they shouldn't be. And if we end up with some issues with some of the bigger stores, we'll address that as we enforce it and see if we have to modify it. But I think the concern is there are certain products that might be sold in larger stores. And I don't think it's the intent to prohibit them from selling those products. But in other stores where the market and the patron is different than going into Save-A-Lot or going into Super Super, I think we can see how this works.
Council President, through you to the VA, so could we possibly, like we do loose cigarettes, I know that's a state mandate, but, I mean, could it be
Yes.
something, so,
Yeah, like,
should we
you
change
don't
the-
want them to sell individual Brillo pads or
Right.
individual, like, pipe cleaners.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right,
I
right,
think we could probably make some language changes to that.
okay, okay.
And Council President, do you to the BA?
Yes, Councilwoman Williams?
Because that's the same thing I was gonna ask when they're, looking at things from it's a combination of things that when you
Yeah.
do things, so, okay, all right. So is this a combination of, is it the combination of things, or it's?
So candidly, we had a discussion earlier today, myself and one of the assistant city attorneys. And what I'd like to do is, I'd like to introduce this tonight, because I know it's important, but I'd like an opportunity to tweak some of the language between now and the final hearing. I'm particularly concerned about one brand name that's actually included in the ordinance. So I think we can get there without actually naming the brand.
The brain,
Right.
all right.
And once it's passed, then we can be responsible, making sure every bodega and every small store.
We'll hand
gets
it
a
out.
Gets a copy?
So can we amend that right now, just to take the name out? No?
I'd rather not,
Okay.
because I asked the assistant city attorney to do some research.
Gotcha.
Because I know that they've adopted ordinances like this in New York City
Gotcha.
and in some other locations. So I asked him if he could actually go and pull some of that.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Did we ever legislate vaporing?
Not since I've been here, but that doesn't mean you didn't. And since the code takes up 2 shelves in my office,
Council
You stopped
President, I think it's in a no smoking,
You did it, you
Or
did the
I-
no smoking
Could
ordinance.
we ask,
do that.
isn't, but I think vaping
It
is
was, that's
included
right.
in it.
what did we do, it set an age limit of when, who they could sell it to?
I think so.
we did.
I think it's in the code.
You
We
did.
can look.
Yep, when
Okay.
the store was trying to come here.
All right.
Council President, if I may.
Yes, Councilman Jackson.
And I had a question about some of the language as well, that some things we're not clear, whether they may have an appropriate use, like an eyedropper. And there are some laws, I think, that prohibit sales of things like syringes and needles in those stores anyway, so it may be redundant to have an ordinance addressing that here. Rolling paper that could be used for tobacco, which is still legal. And so in terms of the research of the issue, I hear the business administrator saying that he may get some language from stores from an area that's already doing it. I understand the intent of this. Certainly, we don't want traffic of, drug abusers to these particular stores that may affect the peace of the community. But it seems to me we have a little bit of research to do and
Well,
maybe cleaning up the language
To
a
be,
little bit.
to be clear, only the underlined portion is
Right.
being added to the ordinance.
Right.
So it's
The
already-
other stuff
okay.
that's there
It's
is
already
already in the ordinance and has
Right.
been for a number of years.
Okay.
And
just
there's
sell
also some state legislation that's referenced at the end of that paragraph, which gives authority to regulate some of these things that are in the existing ordinance.
Okay.
So what our focus was on the use of the word, phrase chore boy, and a couple of, I think we can clean it up with identifying single sales or non-packaged sales.
Yes.
Because what happens is you go into some of these stores and you can buy individual pipe cleaners.
Yes.
They're not being used to clean somebody's tobacco pipe.
Right.
That's the issue.
Understandable.
Okay?
That's all I had. Thank
All
you.
right.
Roll call, Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilman Jackson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes,
Councilwoman Wooten,
Yes.
Council President Eason.
Yes.
34-2019, an ordinance to amend the Code of the City of Orange Township, Chapter 200, entitled Vehicle and Traffic, Section 200-10.2, Residential Parking Permit, Hickory Street. Is there a motion to adopt on first?
Move. Councilwoman Williams and Councilman Coley.
On the motion? Seeing none, roll call. Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilman Jackson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
yes,
Councilwoman Wooten,
Yes.
Council President Eason.
Yes.
The final reading for all the ordinances adopted on first reading will be Tuesday, September 3rd, 2019.
Council colleagues, can we suspend the rules before we go to the consent agenda and let the fire department give their report? They were running late. I'm assuming they were busy with the storm.
yeah.
Could I have a motion?
Motion to suspend the rules?
Second.
Councilwoman Williams and Councilman Coley. Thank
All in
you.
favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right.
Deputy Chief Almendinger?
You get a sticker for that.
Third meeting this summer, so she's got it by now. All right, actually, this is gonna be short and sweet. I actually got this from Deputy Chief Spearman. He just wanted to let you all know that the fire department and the police department finished up its 2 weeks with the Junior Public Safety Academy. What they engaged in was the following. They simulated offensive and defensive firefighting techniques. They also simulated putting out a car fire. They did all this at the Morris County Fire Safety Academy. And at this time right now, the Orange Fire Department is preparing their schedule of the fall and winter initiatives, which includes the Fire Prevention Month of October and the Thanksgiving and Christmas. Also, on August 12th, we will be doing the second round of the evaluations on the new firefighter class. And that's about all we had so far. That's it.
Council President?
Yes, Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Deputy Chief, you were not here. the incident that happened on 280 and
Yes.
Will Holder,
Yes.
can you just send our prayers and let him know
Sure.
that the city council, we announced it, you know he's a young,
Yeah,
family's from
I was,
Orange.
unfortunately, I was actually working that day.
Okay.
So I happened to be on the highway that day for 3 hours when that whole incident was going down. I mean, between him and Captain Bogier, I mean,
Right.
it's a tragedy. I mean, unfortunately, I don't want to speak for the Holder family, but I know that it's going to be a long road of recovery for the both of them, so.
So can you just send, I know your brotherhood, and if you
Uh-huh.
can just send that the council is thinking of lifting.
No problem,
Okay,
we will do
thank you.
that. I mean, I know that if anyone's on Facebook, they have already set
Right.
up a thing. They have raised a ton of money for the family. They're also doing meals. They provided meals all the way out through October for his wife and kids. So we're just gonna keep standing by his side till he gets better.
And thank you.
All right?
And
Anybody
Council
else?
President,
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
thank you. In recognizing the success of the program with the young people, do you have any current firefighters that attended as young people? Or-
No, not yet. Most of this junior academy probably started 3 years ago. Yeah,
Oh,
3
they're
years
still
ago.
too young. Okay.
Yeah, so maybe the oldest kid out of that class now is maybe 15, 16.
All right.
So maybe soon.
Maybe
We'll soon.
All right,
All right.
thanks.
Anybody else? All right. Thank you.
All right, while we're taking this break, I just want to let everyone know that Councilman Johnson got stuck in the storm, and he'll be here as soon as he can. He had some family emergencies that were storm-related. So, just so you know that he didn't just stay home, but he's dealing with the storm issues right now. Thank you.
Consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Are there any items that the council wish to remove?
For a separate vote,
Council
Go ahead.
President,
yes, Councilman Wu.
184.
We addressed, 182 was pulled, but
Council President, to the clerk,
Yes,
do you want to just run down the ones that were just pulled?
Sure.
Wait, before you do that, excuse me one second.
Um, 182 was withdrawn, 265 withdrawn, 266 withdrawn, 268 withdrawn, 272 withdrawn, and replaced by 292, which is a walk-on, and 286 has been amended.
You did 184. For separate vote.
Through you, Business Administrator, Mr. Hardwick. Can we, and I know Councilman Cole is gonna probably say, about 184. Can we withdraw that until we get some accounting as to what's happening on open mic night, and what the attendance is?
Council, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'll have Ms. Sykes here at the next meeting.
So can we withdraw that until we get some
Council-
details, some information to make sure that we want to spend money to do that?
Council President?
Yes.
I am in support of withdrawing so that you get the information, but I will tell you, I participated one night, and I was very pleased that the participation was anywhere from a student to our senior population, and they all got up and they spoke, read, and, it was a beautiful program. But I know that, Councilman Wooten, that you've been asking for particulars, but the night I participated, it was really, so I just wanted to put that on the record.
Just to know, Councilman Johnston arrived at 8:40. But he's not wet. That's a good thing.
You got a good umbrella.
Give me that umbrella.
I was there one night also, and I was a little disappointed at the attendance. So we just need to get some information as to the attendance and what's really happened.
Are there any other items that council wish to
So-
withdraw
So
or
we're
remove?
postponing that.
So we're postponing it again or withdrawing it?
You mean Roundtree?
Yes.
Yes,
Just postpone it.
okay. So either in the next meeting, whether we will either have to vote it up or vote it down. Okay, so 184 is off the consent agenda.
So you want,
Are there any resolutions that you want pulled for a separate vote?
274, 2019?
We're gonna put 239, for, and put that on at the end also.
What's 239?
And that's the planning board.
Council President,
Yes.
259, 259, for a language issue. I mean, a title, it looks like maybe a mistake.
So we're just putting it out of order? That's it?
Yes, we're just putting them out of order.
Separate vote.
Oh, separate.
Separate
Okay,
vote.
gotcha, okay.
Anything else, council colleagues? All right. So just go over what we pulled and what was withdrawn.
182 was withdrawn, 184 was postponed to the next meeting. 239 was pulled for a separate vote. 259 pulled for a separate vote. 265 withdrawn. 266 withdrawn. 268 withdrawn. 272 withdrawn. 274 a separate vote. 286 a separate vote and was amended. That's it.
Okay.
So the consent agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry, Council President. 258, 2019?
Okay.
All right, I
The
apologize.
consent agenda consists of 229, 230, 231, 232, 233, 234, 235, 236, 237, 238, 240, 241, 242, 244, 243, 244, 245, 246, 247, 248, 249, 250, 251, 252, 253, 254, 255, 256, 257, 260, 261, 262, 263, 264, 267, 269, 270, 271, 273, 275, 276, 277, 278, 279, 280, 281, 282, 283, 284, 285, 287, 288, and 289. Is there a motion?
Move.
Before, you read out 245, and that's been withdrawn.
245 has been withdrawn?
Yeah.
Okay. 245 withdrawn.
Oh, wait a minute.
No, it wasn't.
I'm sorry.
No, it wasn't.
No?
Nope,
Sorry, 245 was not withdrawn.
wrong one. My fault.
Never mind.
Never mind.
You're gonna do
Chris
an
is
emotion,
having a
right?
senior moment.
You're gonna
Okay.
do an emotion?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Is there a motion to adopt?
Motion by Councilman Coley. Did we get a second?
Second,
Second by Councilwoman Williams on the motion.
on the motion, Council President, I would like to amend the consent agenda to withdraw 251 as well,
Withdraw.
which,
Not
for
withdrawn.
a separate vote.
Separate vote.
Separate
Yes.
vote. So just a correction, 251, 2019 has been taken off the consent agenda for a separate vote.
Roll call to adopt the consent agenda.
Well,
Councilman Coley?
oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
As amended.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr.?
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten?
Yes.
Council President Eason?
Yes.
Did you,
So we go back to,
288 was for several votes.
well,
Two 88?
251, 2018.
Says separate vote. Separate vote.
We did.
Should be.
Did we?
251, 2019, a resolution authorizing the services of Pennington Law Group, PC, to represent the city of Orange Township, and Anthony M. Carey in the matter of Albaneri Cruz Rodriguez versus the city of Orange Township, Anthony M. Carey and John Doe, 1 through 10, in an amount not to exceed $20,000 for the calendar year 2019. Is there a motion to adopt?
Could you repeat the number of this, please?
Resolution 251, 2019.
Move.
I'm sorry, go ahead. You good.
Motion by Councilman Coley. Is there a second?
Second.
second by Councilwoman Williams.
On the motion?
Councilwoman Williams.
I reserve the same statement that I made. This is our previous city attorney, and I think that we're still too close to have him come in and retain matters, and that's just my, that's my position. I don't think enough time has been,
But it is a law group.
I-
He just happened to be one of the attorneys
I
there.
know.
Yeah,
I-
but it's
I
a
com-
law group.
Yep, I completely understand.
Yeah.
Is this just the amendment
251?
to have it on a separate vote?
Yes.
That's what I thought. So you're speaking on the amendment.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Sorry, Harv.
We're doing
Right.
251.
251.
You're speaking on the amendment to have a separate vote on 251 from the consent agenda.
No.
No.
No, we're on resolution
So you're-
251.
So you're doing it?
Yeah, we did the vote already.
Okay.
We took it off the consent agenda.
Okay.
Anyone else on the motion?
Council President,
Yes,
through
Councilwoman.
you to the city attorney, is there any conflict?
No, there's not a conflict at all.
Okay.
Roll call. Councilman Coley?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr.?
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams?
No.
Councilwoman Wooten?
Yes.
Council President Coley? I'm sorry,
Eason.
Council President Eason.
We'll work through that
Had that effect?
in a couple of weeks.
Did you say yes?
Couple meetings.
Yes, yes.
That's 6 yeas, 1 no. Motion passed. 258, 2019. A resolution authorizing the services of Pennington Law Group, PC, to represent the city of Orange Township in the matter of estate of Anne Marie Breas by Maria DeRosiers and Minstrix ad prosequendum and Maria DeRosiers individually versus Isaiah J. Jordan, City of Orange Township et al., in the amount not to exceed $25,000 for the calendar year 2019. Is there a motion to adopt?
Move.
Second.
Councilman Coley and Councilwoman Wooten.
On the motion? Seeing none, roll call. Councilman Coley?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr.?
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams?
No.
Councilwoman Wooten?
Yes.
Council President Eason?
Yes.
6 yeas, 1 no. Motion passed. 25-2019. 259-2019. A resolution authorizing the services of Lamb Ketzer LLC to represent the city of Orange Township in the matter of Corey D. Talaferio, Administrator ad prosequendum of Safiya Scott, deceased, versus City of Orange et al. In amount not to exceed $25,000. Is there a motion to adopt?
Move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Coley, second by Councilman Jackson.
On the motion?
On the motion, if I may.
Councilman Jackson?
In the first whereas clause, it makes reference to litigation regarding a former employee of Orange, and I was just wondering if that is a mistake or is that appropriate language?
Sorry, where are we?
We're looking at 259.
The question?
And my question is regarding the language in the first whereas clause. It makes reference to a case that I don't know whether it's correct. In the title, it addresses Talifero and Scott versus Orange, and then in the first whereas clause, it names another case, and I don't know if it's the same. Is that correct?
No, that needs
Our
to be.
city attorney, Mr.
Yes.
Martellus, did you want to respond to that?
I do. So that first whereas clause is incorrect. It needs to be amended. The case that is being sent to Lamb Kretzer is the Taliaferro case and not the case that's mentioned in the first whereas clause. So that needs to be amended to read the case that's referenced in the title.
Council
Can we make those corrections, amendments now?
Yes, you can, and then the amended resolution can be delivered to the clerk's office.
All right, Madam Clerk, you want to read
Oh,
what?
I'm sorry. I actually think that the resolution has been amended, and,
Do we have it here?
well, I don't know, because this looks like it's the same to me. I don't know. Is that the same?
Where you at?
It's the same. It was amended. I think I caught it
It's here?
before, but, the original
We
is
still
there.
got Joseph Giuliano there. Joseph Giuliano.
It was amended. We caught it before.
Okay, so has it been delivered to?
They
did
probably don't
everybody
have a
get
copy of the amendment.
it? All right,
if
so
it's
my,
not on the
I've been
desk.
advised
We'll
that it
just-
has already actually been amended. The clerk's office has a copy of the amended resolution. I did take a glance at it, and the first whereas clause does in fact contain the proper case title.
So is this just, this copy is incorrect, but the actual resolution is correct?
Correct.
The resolution in the clerk's office. the
City
amended
Attorney, could you just read into the record what the amended whereas is?
Yes, so the
Just so to
first-
be there.
Yes, Council President. So the first whereas clause should read, whereas there exists a need for the City of Orange Township to retain legal representation on behalf of City of Orange Township in connection with litigation, comma, open quote, Corey D. Taliaferro, comma, Administrator, ad prosecundum, which I could never pronounce even in law school, of Asifa Scott, comma, deceased versus City of Orange Township et al., close quote. That's the entire first whereas clause.
Council President?
Yes, Councilwoman Williams.
So two things. So the one that I have still has the previous.
Right, so my understanding is that the one that every council person has is the previous one, but
Right.
apparently the amended one was delivered to the clerk's office.
Okay. And then the second thing.
Quinn make a copy for everybody. Quinn is gonna make a copy for everybody so that we will have the correct one.
And then the second thing, have we been briefed on these?
I'm sorry, say again?
Have we been briefed on these?
Just the first
You have not been, no, this is a new case that came in, so you haven't been briefed on it yet. One of the things that I was going to address during a law department presentation tonight, which has been moved to the September meeting, are regular reports to council, including the new and existing litigation. So the report on this new matter is forthcoming to the council.
And when we.
And we will address the facts as well as the issues, and what we believe to be, all of the important, again, issues, about this new case.
And we're going to executive session tonight for legal matters, correct?
We are going to executive session for one specific legal matter, not
Exactly.
every and all legal matter, that's within
That's
the
only for
city.
one.
No, I got you, but I'm saying if this is a new matter, why couldn't we just, before vote?
Because I'd rather, if it's okay with you, Council Vice President, I'd rather, again, put it in a memo to all council members, which we will have. I can certainly get that to you by the end of the week, and just discuss the
But you
other.
got my vote if I do that.
Say that again?
But you would have my vote if I did that one.
It's raining outside. You gotta mess with me anyway.
And just so we're clear, we don't wanna
Go ahead.
add anything to tonight, so we can all get home at a decent hour.
And just, Council President, just so we would have our conversations and memos before we
Yeah.
vote on it. And if you- That's it.
Okay.
Okay,
All right, that's fine.
thank you.
Roll call. Councilman
minute.
Coley?
Yes.
I
I'm sorry.
I wanted to ask Councilman Jackson, you okay?
Yes, thank you.
All right,
and
okay.
That's what I was looking for.
It appears that the amended resolution is being distributed to
Yep.
all council members as we speak, so the vote, if it's the will of the council, can go forward once all the members have received the amended legislation.
Roll call, Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilman Jackson,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr.,
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten,
Yes.
Council President Coley. Damn it. Council President Eason.
Yes.
We get there.
3 strikes and you're out.
274-2019. A resolution authorizing Pinoli Associates, Inc., 24 Commerce Street, Suite 300, Newark, New Jersey, 07102, to provide engineering services relating to the water system in an amount not to exceed $600,000. Is there a motion to adopt?
Move.
Second,
Councilman Coley and Councilman
Jackson.
Jackson.
Everybody killing names tonight.
On the motion?
Council President,
Yes, Councilwoman Williams.
do we have 3 quotes, that went out for this?
Business Administrator,
They are on the pre-qualified list. So there's no requirement to get 3 quotes,
But we
and they
have,
were designated as the water engineer.
but we have, 2 things that concern me, Mr. Hartwick, is that.
Councilwoman Williams, please talk into the mic so
We have
people
2
can-
things that concern me. One, we have a ordinance for minority set aside. And I don't know, and it may not, and it's just, are we following that process? And this particular, the collective amount of money that is being spent with this one vendor, one, I would like to see if we can get a report on how much money has been spent with this vendor year to date. And then, on every, the project, because it's accumulating, everything they've done, and those are my concerns.
Okay, well, they do work on 2 different, in 2 different areas. And they predate me. So they're doing work,
But it's renewed every year, though.
pardon?
It's renewed every year.
No, this one's not.
Okay.
So this particular contract was entered into originally in 2015, then again in 2016, 17 at the end of the year, and then they did work in 18, but didn't have a contract. So this particular list of items are items that are required by the DEP pursuant to an NOV that was issued in October of 18,
What's the NOV?
a notice of violation.
Okay.
And it's not something that we can, they're familiar with the system. They are familiar with the DEP's requirements and with the notice of violation, and participated in a number of the conferences with DEP. So in order to cure the notice of violation, I need the engineering specs done for the well rehabilitations, yeah.
So this is still all around well 5?
This is well 5, it's also well 7 and 8, and well 6R. It's the generator backup, it's the specs for the new meters. A lot of the stuff that's required and has been identified under the asset management plan and the capital plan, this is the engineering for it. And this actually started out as a $1.6 million proposal, and we shifted a lot of the engineering costs away and into the in-house engineering department at Suez, and an in-house engineering department with one of the vendors that supplies some of the pumps and motors.
So when you just mentioned the notice of violation, and when all of that happens, does some of that come back as not a financial penalty to us, that they have to eat that cost? Does any of that happen, or?
Well, the notice of violation is on the operator and the owner.
Not that, when they're doing, work and they're not meeting their deadlines and goals or whatever, and I don't know.
The engineering company?
Yes, and I don't know if it was because of NOV, if they have to go back and do something like that, but are there, and so Suez constantly reviews it, who reviews? Suez reviews?
Well, previously, I can't speak to who reviewed Pinoni's work. It was somewhat dysfunctional. But I can tell you that currently, they're given assignments through a regular process. I approve all the assignments. The work comes in and is reviewed, not only by Suez, but also by our day-to-day people. And the bills come to me. So this is, I think I mentioned it in the resolution, but this is engineering costs related to mandatory capital improvements that have to be made to the water system. And I think I mentioned that there's going to be a capital ordinance that comes, and most of these engineering costs will be paid for either out of the capital ordinance or through an infrastructure bank loan that we obtain for the water improvements. So I hear you on the EEO requirements. The city attorney and I spoke about that beforehand. If they're not in compliance, we won't sign the contract. I have difficulty believing that they're not in compliance simply because they do so much work for public agencies, including the County of Essex, which is very strict about their EEO compliance. But we will check that. As far as the numbers, as I said, we knocked this down from 1.6 to 6.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else on the motion?
I just want to say one thing. All the work that has been happening with the water mains and the new fire hydrants, is that included in this as well?
So, yes.
Okay, that's no need to explain.
All
They're
right.
doing a good job. Thank you.
Roll call. Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilman Jackson,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr.,
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten,
Yes.
Council President Eason.
Yes.
286-2019, B.A. Hart, you want to go through what the change is before we even get into adopting it as amended?
Yeah. So there's a little bit of a history here, and Mr. Mapp can fill in anything that I get wrong or correct anything I get wrong. But we went out to bid for this twice, at least twice, and got no bids. We thought we were going to be dealing with Atlantic Uniform. We went down to talk to them and negotiate, and they basically said, yeah, we're not interested, and they wanted to raise their prices by 20% off of what was quoted under the state contract. So we went over to the competitor, which is Gauls Universal, and while I had originally drafted the resolution, or the law department did, for Atlantic, I've changed the resolution to basically change the provider to Gauls Universal. And it's roughly the same price. They're a little bit higher than what the state contract price was, but they're not 20% higher. And I can't make a contractor or a vendor do business with us. So I need the uniforms. This includes not only the police uniforms, but it also includes the crossing guards uniforms. We have budgeted the money, and because we were in a position where nobody bid, we're permitted to negotiate with a vendor. And nobody bid twice, not just once, but twice. It might have been a third time, I'm not sure. So that's where we're at, and that's why you have an amended resolution on the table.
Is this in city, or is it, I thought it's in where?
I'm sorry, what?
Where is it located?
Hang on, let me look.
Who, Atlantic Uniforms?
No, Gall. With Gall's LLC. It says.
They're on 1340 Russell Cave Road, but I guess we didn't, they're in Bergen County.
I thought it said.
No, they're in Lexington, Kentucky.
Lexington,
Yeah, that's what I'm
Kentucky.
saying.
But that's their
Parent
headquarters.
office.
They have a store. You know where it is? Jersey City?
No, it's in Newark.
Newark? Thanks.
Same.
Same as Universal.
Yes.
It's the old Universal, and they have a store in Newark. They,
Street,
pardon?
Broad Street.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're just as good in prop.
They were always competing with Atlantic. We've been back and forth. We've used them before.
So if this is passed tonight, how soon will the crossing guard get their vouchers?
I don't know, how quickly can you deliver them?
Tomorrow.
Don't tell her that.
Tomorrow.
She be driving around.
Tomorrow. I'll drive to every house and give them out.
I have to have the vouchers, I have to inspect what's been drafted, but they're ready.
They ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we sent somebody down to check the stock.
All right. All righty.
And I distributed your stop signs. Yes, with instruction.
Yeah, we gotta thank the county for our 5 crossing guard stop signs that they gave us. You ready?
286-2019, resolution authorizing the contract with Galls LLC, 1340 Russell Cave Road, Lexington, Kentucky, 40505, until December 31st, 2019, in amount not to exceed $30,000. Is there a motion to adopt as
Move.
amended?
Second.
Who was the first motion? Cooley and Wooten.
On the motion?
Real quickly, does that include, what happened to the new stop signs for them? Did Mr. Mays order them?
You mean the ones with the lights all the way around?
Yeah.
We had a discussion about that today. They ordered? They're not ordered yet, but they will be.
Will we have them by September 1st?
We better.
Are we gonna follow Mr. Mays home?
Was that a yes, Council President? That was a yes?
That was a yes.
Okay,
All right,
for the record.
all right.
It's dark.
Roll call, Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilman Jackson,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr.,
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Wooten,
Yes.
Council President Eason.
Yes.
239-2013. B.A. Hartwick, you had a chance to review? A resolution appointing Council President Tim C.A. Eason as a member of the Planning Board of the City of Orange Township. Is there a motion?
Move.
Second.
Second.
Councilman Coley and
No.
Council.
You have to abstain.
I am.
You can't say anything. Trust me.
Motion by Councilman Coley, second.
I
Second.
said, no. I have to say, but okay.
Second by Councilwoman Summers Johnson. On the motion? Seeing none, roll call. Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilman Jackson,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr.,
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten,
Yes.
Council President Eason.
Abstain.
New business. Walk-on resolutions. The following items are presented tonight to be walked on. Resolution 290-2019, 291, 2019, 292, 2019, 293, 294, 2019. I'll read the titles. 290, 2019, a resolution authorizing the City of Orange Township to submit a grant application and execute a grant agreement with the New Jersey Department of Transportation for the City of Orange Township Safe Streets to Transit Improvement Fiscal Year 2020. 291, 2019, a resolution authorizing the City of Orange Township to submit a grant application and execute a grant agreement with New Jersey Department of Transportation for the City of Orange Township Transit Village Improvements Fiscal Year 2020. 292-2019, a resolution authorizing the award of a non-fair and open contract for financial consulting service to Rock Fleet Financial Services, Inc., 45 Rockefeller Plaza, Suite 2000, New York, New York, 10111, until December 31st, 2019. 293, 2019, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute the lease and operating agreement for the Highland Avenue train station between New Jersey Transit Corporation and the City of Orange Township. 294, 2019, a resolution approving the settlement in the amount of land bets versus the City of Orange Township et al. Docket number EXXL-004009-17 in the amount not to exceed $1,500,000. Is there did I miss one? Oh. Is there a motion to walk these items on the agenda?
Move.
Second.
Councilwoman Williams and Councilwoman Wooten.
On the motion?
Just that, when you just read 292, you didn't state a not to exceed amount of 60,000. You said up to the date, but you didn't say the amount.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I didn't even hear what you just said, but, okay. Roll call. Councilman Coley?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr.?
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten?
Yes.
Councilwoman Easton, Council President, Councilwoman Wooten, did I call you? Yes, okay. Council President Easton.
Yes.
Okay. Citizens, any citizens wish to speak?
Jeffrey Feld, I want to talk about 293 and 294. First, I'm going to start with 293. This is really a drafting question. On the face, because the way case law is, it doesn't say on the face of the ordinance, what is the statutory state enabling statute allowing you to do this? In addition, it should say if you're doing it under land and local buildings law, what section it is and whether it has to be really done by resolution or by ordinance. I'm not sure, because I didn't really have enough time to research the issue, whether it had to be done by ordinance. But on page 2 of the attached agreement, it's interesting because the agreement says 2018, we're in 2019, but a material term is missing. Because we are the one that has to pay the state, that's the way I understand it, and that's left blank. And this is going to be an obligation that we're going to have to incur every year for 5 years, and then I think there's an option. Just quickly, based on my quick review of this, what we saw, that at the minimum, I believe that we should at least say on the face of the ordinance what statute allows us to do what we're doing. And I'm not sure whether it has to be done by resolution or ordinance because I haven't done the research. Because typically, when you do sales or leases by municipalities, it's by ordinance, but because the other party is the state, I don't know if there's an exception for that. But it should be set forth what allows us, but I'm more concerned that the obligation that we're going to be obligated to pay in the future is not set forth. As to the settlement, that has to be done, but I'm a little, if you look at the handwritten settlement agreement, that was dated July 27th, you know, why couldn't that have been this has been drafted? Because we're talking about $1.5 million. Half of it's coming from our Essex carrier. The balance is coming from an account. If you read the resolution, it refers to a certificate of availability of funds, but there's nothing attached. It refers to a settlement account. I'm not aware of any settlement accounts that has $750,000 in it. Because the way I read this is that you approve this, the city is going to pay cash of $750,000. I don't know if that was provided in our introduced budget, you know, where this money is coming from. Would this be something that will require an amendment of our introduced budget to take this appropriation, or is this going to be an emergency appropriation? It's just, again, I'm rushed with this to look at it. I'm just looking at it on the face of it. The $750,000 says it's coming from a certain account. There's supposed to be a certificate of availability. It's not attached. But $750,000 is a lot of money, and the question is, how does it affect our budget?
Thank you, Mr. Fell.
There a motion to close citizen comments?
Second.
Councilwoman Williams and Councilwoman Wooten.
All in favor?
Aye.
So just for the record, after Resolution 293, 2019, we're going to go into executive session to discuss 294, or after, 294? No, whichever, 294, 2019, for the general public to know. 290-2019 WO, a resolution authorizing the City of Orange Township to submit a grant application and execute a grant agreement with the New Jersey Department of Transportation for the City of Orange Township Safe Streets to Transit Improvement, fiscal year 2020. Is there a motion to adopt?
Move. Second.
Williams and Wooten.
On the motion? Seeing none, roll call. Councilman Coley?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr.?
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten?
Yes.
Council President Eason?
Yes.
291-2019 WO, a resolution authorizing the City of Orange Township to submit a grant application and execute a grant agreement with the New Jersey Department of Transportation for the City of Orange Township Transit Village Improvements, fiscal year 2020. Motion to adopt?
Move.
Second.
Councilwoman Williams. Who's second?
Second.
Councilman Jackson.
On the motion? Roll call, Councilman Coley?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr.?
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten?
Yes.
Council President Eason?
Yes.
292-2019 WO, a resolution authorizing the award of a non-fair and open contract for the financial consulting services to Rockfleet Financial Services, Inc., 45 Rockefeller Plaza, Suite 2000, New York, New York, 10111, until December 31st, 2019. Is there a motion to adopt?
Move.
Williams
Second.
and Jackson.
On the motion? Seeing none, roll call. Councilman Coley?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr.?
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten?
Yes.
Council President Eason?
Yes.
293-2019 WO, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute the lease and operating agreement for the Highland Avenue train station between New Jersey Transit Corporation and the City of Orange Township. Is there a motion?
Move.
Second.
Williams and Johnson.
On the motion?
Council President,
Yes, Councilwoman Williams.
through you to Mr. Hartwick. Mr. Hartwick, this does not reflect all the monies. Is this 614 one of the grants that we received, correct? The second whereas?
Yes.
And is there a reason it doesn't reflect the second grant?
Marty Mays, Director of Planning and Development. We're only talking about the first one.
Why are we only talking about the first one? Because
Exactly.
everything that we have put out talks about one grant plus a matching grant, which is 1 point, da-da-da-da.
The lease agreement only deals with the first grant, which is the interior of the building.
Right.
I'm not saying that we don't have other grants, but
So
this one
the
is
other grant that you have is
for exterior.
is for the exterior and the pathways too, right?
Yes, yes.
So the lease agreement only covers,
The main,
the reason this grant is mentioned is because it's for the interior renovation for the historic structure. You know, I don't know that it would be fatal if we added language regarding the other
Because it's a
grant.
lease and we can't spend any of the money until we execute the lease.
Well, actually, yeah, it's a little more complicated than that, but, so we're asking for approval because under New Jersey Transit's process, we have to approve the lease.
Right.
We will be back to you after the conclusion of the renovation and before we actually enter into any subleases, because it's at that time that New Jersey Transit strikes the business deal with us on what their share is on the rents. So what we have to pay them, which is why you have a blank on page 2. But you can't move forward with the historic renovation unless you actually approve the lease, because somebody has to be responsible for the building.
So we're approving the lease without a lease amount, is what you're saying?
Correct, because we don't know what revenue is going to be generated, and they don't want us to have to pay the money. So what they do is they want us to share with them a percentage of the revenue that we generate through our subleases.
So it's almost zero base and then split? Okay.
Correct. And in the lease is an approval for subleases, and that's when they negotiate with you on the terms. And I know it sounds a little weird, but
No.
this is a process that they've done in virtually all municipalities with train stations. So in order to start the work, we have to approve the lease. The lease is the end of what we call the conditions letter, which we've already signed. And it's a little strained, but that's the way it works.
And then, upon council's approval, how soon do we hope to have this signed?
Yeah, we anticipate going out to bid before the end of the new
No,
year.
how soon is the lease going to be signed?
Oh, I'm not sure about that.
Well, first thing is, we've asked them for an updated lease with the right dates. They're not exactly quick. So it won't be signed until we get that, and we'll review it, and then it'll be signed. And it has to be signed before we award the construction contract. So it'll be signed within the next 90 days.
You gotta walk it through.
Yes.
And it's really weird. I see you caught it because we had a big meeting in New Jersey. We're dealing with New Jersey Transit and the DOT, and this is like absolutely, we can't move forward without it.
Nope. And everybody's ready to, so hopefully by winter?
The goal is for everybody, not just the cities, all the partners, is to have somebody in place by the end of the year, and once the new year starts, start renovations.
And the only reason that we walked this on is because everybody's been waiting for it, and we just didn't feel like we could wait another month.
And so this it's still, maybe that this winter will still be outside waiting?
Oh, Marty is going to make sure that they're working before the first snowfall.
That's right.
Director Mays, good job.
All right, thanks.
Look into that monitor and say that.
Roll call, Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilman Jackson,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr.,
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten,
Yes.
Council President Eason.
Yes.
At this time, we need to go into executive session. Resolution 295-2019, a resolution to hold an executive session to discuss pending litigation matters. Is there a motion?
Move.
Second.
Councilwoman Williams and Councilwoman Wooten.
On the motion? Seeing none, roll call. Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilman Jackson,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr.,
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten,
Yes.
Councilwoman President Eason.
Yes.
Is there a motion to enter into executive session?
Move.
Second.
Second.
Williams and Jackson.
Roll call. Councilman Coley,
Yes.
Councilman Jackson,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr.,
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten,
Yes.
Council President Eason.
Yes.
We're entering into executive session at 9:30 PM. We're asking everyone to leave the chambers.
Council President,
Council President,
can you give me 2 minutes to use the men's room?
That's what I was gonna say. Can
Council
we take a
President.
5-minute?
can you just make it clear to the public that action will be taken when you come out of closed session?
Yeah, we will take action after closed session, so if you want to hang around. And can I have a motion to take a 5-minute recess?
Move.
Second.
Wilson and Wooten, 5 minutes.
Everybody over there.
Recess.
We will reconvene into our regular meeting. We need a motion.
Motion to reconvene?
Motion to end the executive session
and Motion.
Move.
Yes.
By Jackson and, who was the second? Williams.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Reconvened at 10:13.
Yes.
Resolution 294, 2019 WO, a resolution approving a settlement in the matter of Ivan Betts versus the City of Orange Township, Ian Betts versus the City of Orange Township et al., docket number ESX-L-004-004009-17 in amount of $1,500,000. Is there a motion to adopt?
Move.
Second.
Coley and Wooten.
On the motion? Seeing none, roll call. Councilman Coley?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr.?
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten?
Yes.
Council President Eason?
Yes.
Any other pending business?
Council President, I just want to state for the record what I told you, which was that this is a reimbursement policy, so the city will fund the entirety of the $1.5 million up front. Will then be reimbursed the 50% from the excess carrier. I'll come back to you. I can fund that based on cash on hand. I'll do that in order to facilitate the settlement of the case, and we'll come back to you with a permanent financing solution or expenditure solution in September, once I have the budget squared away. But it's likely to be but a portion of which will likely be an emergency appropriation.
Just so, no one asked a critical question tonight before we close. When is the budget gonna be on the agenda?
Sure. So I learned from Mr. Mapp this evening that the August 14th local finance, this isn't even public yet. Apparently, he got an email tonight. The local finance board meeting that was scheduled for August 14th is not going to take place because they don't have a quorum. So they're working on the 26th. We were all set to go be on the 14th. Council members may or may not know that our audit is finished. As a result of the audit being finished, I forwarded it to DCA and to the local finance board and was relying on some of the audited numbers, and I'm making an amendment to the LFB application. I filed some of those pages today. I'm going to have to make some amendments to the budget as a result of the audit, but it's nothing that we can't handle. So I have to get that approved by LFB before I come back to the council with the required amendments. And at this point, since the 14th has been canceled and they haven't figured out a date when they can meet, I don't know when that's going to be. It will likely be at the end of August. They were talking about August 26th. I was supposed to be on vacation then, but if they have the meeting on August 26th, I'll be here because I have to be there.
So there's a possibility we might see something at the September 3rd meeting, right?
Well, I have to work out the details, because if there's an amendment, then I have to introduce the amendments, do a publication, have a hearing, and there will be amendments.
Council President,
Yes, Councilwoman Williams.
with that being said, is the audit in the clerk's office?
I believe you got a copy today, didn't you? You didn't? All right.
No.
I got it electronically. I'll forward it to you. I don't have the printed copies yet. I only have the electronic copies.
And so did we make mention of when we received the printed copies?
They still have to send them out to the printer.
Okay, gotcha, okay.
I pushed to get the audit-ins because
Okay.
I knew it would answer some of the LFB questions.
Okay, all right.
Council President,
Yes, Councilman Johnson.
Not yet.
somebody bought me a coffee today. I like to thank the anonymous person who went in their pocket to buy me this. And I generally buy small coffees, but this is at least a medium. So
You're gonna be up for
yeah, we have some leftover brownies that I'm gonna. So whoever bought me the coffee.
It's the
Then-
combination between me and the BA.
Oh, bless your heart.
And I know, Council, I just want, Ms. Sarwood, we have had, I know today, because I guess Councilman Johnson, you got caught up in all of that, but I know even coming down from Livingston, there were blackouts, floods, and we missed the brunt of, and even I'm seeing a post coming from this way, And,
There was a tornado in Milburn.
and it's, yeah,
It
so,
actually touched down in Milburn and Springfield.
right. So we, OEM, we didn't have anything, so that in itself is a,
That's
you
a
know,
blessing.
yeah.
A lot of accidents out there, everywhere.
Already been corrected. Yeah.
Any other
Do we
pending
have a motion to
business?
close?
Motion,
Second.
motion, second.
Motion by Jackson, second by Wooten. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned,
See you later, alligator.
10:19.
Second, Chris.
What is this?